So that's pretty open for me since there's no board meeting that week.
Okay, we could do
Okay, welcome everybody. Let me
either after 2.
share the
Or
screen.
On the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Great.
can do from 10 to 11, but everything else is fine.
Let's do after 2.
Okay.
Let's do
Share
2:30
that screen.
Upper Lake Yard.
Yeah,
Cool. I'll send you the t-shirts.
Upper Lake Yard, which,
That's, so
what do you consider Upper Lake Yard?
that's where roads department has. all
Oh,
their
yeah,
stuff. That's where the training.
Okay.
will be.
Okay.
That's where the Conex box is with our flood stuff, so.
Right behind me.
Can everybody there on Zoom see the screen?
Shop and everything, Main Street.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
You go around like you're going towards,
And let me.
Yeah, now that, so that's.
Angela, we have everyone here in person that
Yes.
was planning on being here, right?
I wonder if that was.
So I was just gonna check right now.
Okay.
Yes. Lakeport. Board of Soups.
Okay.
Watershed Protection District. I mean,
Cool.
okay, so we have a quorum. We'll get started, and the mic is on. And then Kelly, you can hear me. Let me know if there's anything in the chat that comes up. That's super important. And, okay, so we'll start. Do we have Russ Kramer on? We have Kylie, so that is Clear Lake representation. And, okay, so we're just missing our chair and our chair's alternate, which is Russ Kramer. So does anybody want to be the chair today?
EJ. Who was that?
Wait.
That's not it.
Who hollered?
That's me, Bruno. I thought EJ would be a great volunteer.
Oh, yeah.
It is settled.
And you recommended me?
Yeah, yeah.
You can do it then. I'll just do it.
I know. I never better be careful when you're.
He's constantly trying to recommend me for them. Okay, let me see here. Let me get the agenda.
I have a printout agenda. Does anybody need it?
I use print.
You have one, Jordan?
I'll take one. Thank you.
Do you want? No?
Got one.
Okay.
All right.
So anywhere it says Overton, then that can be you, Supervisor
Got
Crandall.
it. So it's called to order already, right? 2:07?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Attendance, roll call and.
Yeah.
I know,
There
I'm
we
here.
go. There we go.
So let's do roll call online first with our members, City Clear Lake, Kylie.
Present.
And I think that's all we have for online. We have our alternate, which is Bruno Sabatier. Oh,
Oh.
Bethany, you're here too. Okay. Bruno, we heard you, so you're here. Bethany, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, great. Okay, so we do have Lakeport, both Lakeport representations. Great. And then in the room, so myself, Angela De Palma Dow, Lake County Program Coordinator, or Stormwater Coordinator, and Lake County.
EJ, here.
And Marina Delajanis, Deputy Water Resources Director, Lake County Watershed Protection District.
Okay, and then our other Lakeport representative is
Brandon Disney, clearly, Lakeport City Council.
an alternate
Alternate.
for Kim Costa
Kim
today.
Costa.
Great. I see we also have a couple other folks on the online and then in the room. So Joseph. I can't hear you, Joseph, if you're talking.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now we can.
Oh, okay. Don't know what I did.
You're the Community Development Director at Lakeport, correct?
No.
Oh.
I'm with MC Engineering.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Oh, that's right. Okay. They got a Joey is the community development at Lakeport. That's why, right? It's like Joey. Okay.
That definitely rings a bell because I've worked with
Okay.
them extensively, yes.
So I'm not that far off, Joseph, okay, and then Kelly will be taking minutes, she's our front desk person, thanks Kelly. And I think that's it, and then in the room we have,
Hi, I'm Jordan Beaton. Here.
and then we have new staff, Linda Rosa Spill, who is joining us. She's technician, she'll be working on stormwater and flood projects, so glad to bring her in, okay. So next item, also, I wanted to check with you, Bethany, for your alternate. It has Kevin Ingram here, but I didn't know if, since Joey is now with you guys, if he'll be your alternate or your primary. Do you have any information on that?
The alternate would be still Kevin.
Okay, lucky Kevin. Okay, I will keep that.
Thank you.
And everything else on here look good? Everybody?
Yes.
Great. Okay, Supervisor Crandall, you can go to item 3.
So, approval of the minutes, July 2023. If there's anyone that has corrections, revisions, or would like to highlight anything, please speak now, or I'll entertain a motion. Unless we need to open it up for public input.
I think we can open up to the committee and then public input and then just to cover our bases, yeah.
Anyone from the committee have any questions, comments, concerns, or highlights?
I don't have any changes, except there was an action item here, which, Kelly, I'd just like to move to the next meeting in February for the discussion of Molesworth Creek. So I just like to, I didn't include it in today's meeting spoiler, so I just want to make sure it gets captured and we discuss it for the next meeting so I can prepare adequately.
Do you want to table these?
No, just move that action item.
Okay.
Like it said, we were supposed to have a discussion this week on, or this meeting on Molesworth Creek, and I don't have it, so let's do it in February. I can't remember what we were supposed to discuss. I have to go back and,
Sounds good.
okay.
All right. Hearing nobody from the committee, is there anyone from the public that would like to address anything from the minutes of July?
Oh, I do remember what I did.
All right, hearing none, is there anyone that would like to make a motion?
I, Marina Delajanis, make a motion to approve the minutes from the Clean Water Program, July 13th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Should we just do a roll call vote since some people will be voting online, or is it just us voting?
Let's do a roll call.
We can do roll call.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do a roll call. You want to call that out for us, Angela?
Yes,
Okay.
let's start with online, and you can either say yes or thumbs up, I think is okay. So Bethany, Lakeport,
Yes.
Kylie Clark, they're like thumbs up. And then in the room, Angela, yes,
I.
Marina? yes,
Brandon, yes.
Brandon, yes,
Yes.
EJ, yes, okay. Passes,
Unanimously.
Yeah. And Kelly, if you didn't hear, Brandon did the second for the motion.
Item 4, are there any items that were not posted on the agenda that anyone would like to add? Not hearing any, we'll move on to agenda item 5. Old business, and I'll give the floor to Angela to calm it down.
Can anybody find the storm drain in this photo? It's a fun game, 'tis the season. Anybody know where it is?
No.
Okay,
Wait.
it,
Under the leaf. That
Under
one.
the leaf.
right there.
Where's this at?
This is in Lucerne, sorry. Sorry, your district. This is, this drain actually like flows down to the lake. If the lake gets high enough, like it'll come in and wash all that away and go down, but it's a pretty steep. Like there's the Highway 20 and then there's a little community and there's a little road that goes down. And there's a bunch of storm drains that are filled with leaves and mud. And then there's this one right there. So this is a few years old, so it actually might look different now, maybe. But
That's why he didn't recognize it, because you can actually see it now.
maybe now it looks like a
Actually,
storm
Supervisor
drain,
Crandall.
but just, this is the season reminder to move leaves from near your properties to prevent localized flooding, but yeah, okay, fun game, huh?
I'm trying to think where that's exactly at.
Yeah, this was taken the first year of the drought, so it was like way, like there was like lots of dry,
Uh,
okay.
I get a snack on it.
Oh, item 5, so acronym cheat sheet. Let me make sure, Brandon, you get this, cause
Got it.
you got it? You good? Okay.
I'm all set.
Linda, I need that. Anybody?
We'll share.
Okay, and let me know if there's anything to add to this. So again, this is living document that we have as part of this program. And so if we're talking and we slip into acronyms, you can refer to this sheet. And it's good for the public following meetings and programs we do, because a lot of the documents have acronyms in there. Any questions on that? Okay. So we have a contract with EOA to work on our low impact development. And I didn't have them scheduled to do a presentation today because it's not much new information from the last meeting, but that contract is going. And I did want to remind the group of our cost share for this is up there on the screen. And then also to let you all know that when we did the contract, we have a miscellaneous task. So let's say there's something that you may need, like a training on something for one of the permit requirements that has to do with stormwater, or you have some new staff, or you're not sure how to comply with something in the permit. There is resources that we put aside in this contract that can do a miscellaneous task. So one of the things they've tapped into already is giving us updates on the new permit that's coming down. And one of the things they've done in the past contracts has put together a training for construction and post-construction, which we have online, which was really, really useful, met a bunch of requirements in our permit, and gave public works staff a good idea of what they're required to do for properties that we manage and own. So those are some examples. So if there's something else that, might be useful for us for stormwater, just keep that in mind. Because we all pitch in and we all benefit from that. I think that's it. Was there any questions on the last item? Okay, so 5C, we got awarded 319 grant. So keep in mind that was for doing a watershed-based stormwater plan, how we use stormwater, problem areas, some impacts to stormwater, and that's through California Rural Water Association and MC Engineering. So Joseph here from MC Engineering, so great, thank you. And keep in mind too that we all put in a contribution here on the bottom right of that slide to add to what MC Engineering is doing with this project, because the grant does not cover the areas that are urban. So it does not cover the cities. It does not cover the cost for doing stuff in like Upper Lake, Kelseyville, downtown, those kinds of spots. So we wanted to make sure that it really was a watershed base and covers the whole watershed, all the watersheds actually in Lake County. So we contributed each a little bit more to California Water Association, Rural Water Association, and MC Engineering to cover those areas. With that being said, we had to do kind of a separate agreement, or what's called a task order, for that to be clear for Cal Rural Water and MC Engineering. So they would do the stuff for the 319 grants and then for the urban areas. And so that just got finalized, and the amount is here. And you can see this is a little bit higher than what we had originally decided on, but we just put those costs into the county one because county has the most urban areas. So we ate it.
Angela, could you talk a little bit about how that came about
What came about?
as far as the breakdown?
Well, what we did was, and we've had several meetings where we just kind of put out some numbers and what we felt comfortable with. But what we really wanted to do was the bulk of the work, since a lot of it's going to be like watershed assessments or doing research. A lot of it will kind of be overlapping and apply already to the urban areas. So MC Engineering will be able to satisfy the grant and still kind of do work that'll still be beneficial for the urban areas. So it was really maximizing the funds out of the grant. So we did want to have some contribution though, because we wanted a plan that would be useful for the urban areas, but we couldn't justify them doing it on the grant because the grant wouldn't pay for it. So we kind of just decided on some contribution that would cover that work. I think that's the best way to explain it. Did that make
Yeah,
sense?
I remember that being voted on as far as the dollar amounts there.
Yeah, it was in several meetings, this exact table. So in the past, we've done splits based on the area. So we did like how much surface area for all the urban areas put together, and then what's the percentage of each jurisdiction, and then we broke that down cost. We've also done population. So what's the population of all the urban areas, and what's the percentage that we're responsible for? And then recently, because some things stormwater are based on population and area, we've put them together and done the area population numbers, and then what's the percentages that each jurisdiction is responsible for. In this one, because it was such a small amount that we felt we wanted to contribute, we just did a split evenly, 10%, or a split, but it was going to be 10% matched towards the grant. So that's why when the budget came back for the updated work from the task order, I just said the county should just eat that because we have way more space.
Okay.
And we talked about it and we voted on it. And so if there's issues from Clear Lake, let me know now so we can talk about it, but we already made the contracts. So we have a specific request from MC Engineering to solicit potential stormwater management and stormwater resource projects from community stakeholders. And they really asked for help from you guys. And actually I have a video. Let's see, like, what does this look like? What were we talking about when we talk about stormwater resource projects? And let me see if this will, I think it's ever simple in this. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Joseph, did you have anything to add to that? I know there was something that Julie wanted specifically to include.
Yeah, I don't know if I can replicate exactly Julia's point. They're not available to be here on the call today. They're flying back from meeting with clients in Southern California.
One simple but brilliant
Sorry,
trick to heat your home in
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Okay, keep going.
But I think the gist of what they're asking for is, you know, you guys, the contributors, know Lake County a lot better than we do, right? And so it's any sort of help or, you know, forwarding our focus or any other, you know, specific areas that are like would be concerned for you or that needs to be addressed that, you know, we wouldn't initially find going over with a comb. You know, that type of stuff is very useful to us to help identify, you know, specific areas to, you know, focus on.
Right. And you guys will be asked, like, we'll all be asked this and review the lists and everything throughout the duration of the contract. So every meeting we'll check up. They'll check up with us about that. And there's also plans to have additional like outreach opportunities, meetings, virtual, in person, to actually get input directly from the community. But you guys as representatives from communities, we're looking for information. And so you have a better idea of what we're looking for. I have just a short video. It's only 3 minutes. And it talks about stormwater as a drought solution. So we're talking about developing drought contingency plans, drought adaptation plans, and where can stormwater be useful as a resource in times of drought, knowing it can be useful for other things like improvement water quality, in-stream flows, things like that. But here's something to kind of think about it in case we're not exactly sure what it is that we're being asked to do.
90 seconds and save thousands of dollars on your heating bill this winter.
Stanford University.
When you look at places like San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, San Diego, these cities couldn't exist without the massive infrastructure that we have in place to move water around. We're at the limit of the capacity of those systems to supply our water needs during the time of drought and in the future with population increase and with climate change. Stormwater is something that we haven't really utilized fully. And now we look at stormwater in a new light. Not something just to be put into the ocean as quick as you can, but rather as a way to augment our urban water supplies. In Sonoma County, we're looking at ways in which we could capture and treat that stormwater to remove contaminants, There's also an interest in removing nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus from the stormwater. In Los Angeles, we're working with the city to help design a system that would convert a former rock quarry into a stormwater capture and treatment and recharge system. This is a large site, about 50 acres, currently a dump. This dump would become something that looks like a park, but this park-like setting really serves an important purpose, and that's to capture a lot of stormwater. In that area, you're adjacent to the Los Angeles River, where the ground is very permeable, so there's a good place to put that water. The question is how can we do that in a way that we can be sure that we're not contaminating groundwater? Stormwater capture and use will help solve the problem of beach pollution. And in the wintertime, when you have heavy storms, the beaches get contaminated by all this uncontrolled stormwater that rushes down into places like Santa Monica Bay. A properly designed facility, one that looks more like a park, provides community amenities. So in the end, stormwater provides an opportunity to augment water supply. If we do that properly, it will solve problems with coastal pollution, and it can help provide a better urban aesthetic as well.
Awesome. So he talked about the ocean and Santa Monica Bay, but you can easily say Clear Lake and, you know, Upper Arm or somewhere where there could be potential for these projects to be placed. So that's what MC Engineering is looking for, is help on potential locations or ideas for these types of projects. Oh, that's not that one. Okay, the other one. So let me reshare. Did everybody at home was able to see the video okay?
Yes.
Great. Okay, why is it being? Okay. Okay, any questions on item C then? And then Joseph, does that seem like that was in line with what the task was asking, or Julie was asking for?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So this time of year is a great time to notice when there's localized floodings, too much water, dirty stormwater collecting, because that might be a good site where we could put something or, you know, utilize that area and identify a project that could store, reuse, recapture. The plan that MC Engineering is working on is going to have a list of those sites and those types of projects. So this is the time to put those in. Okay. 5D.
Yeah, so hi everyone, Marina Delajanis. So the past, I don't know how many meetings now, but I feel like it's been almost every meeting the past few years. We provided updates on program sustainability, the stormwater program sustainability, as it relates to our department's onboarding and solicitation of getting additional staff to do the work. Jordan and Angela have done a great job, but we all acknowledge that there's a need, especially with all the things that we are working on as it relates to stormwater. So folks were introduced to Linda at the start of this meeting. We're excited to have Linda on board. She has been with our department for a few weeks now, and we are starting the transition of some of the fun things in terms of the technical side as it relates to stormwater and flood. We all know they go hand in hand. We are also soliciting recruitments for another technician, another program coordinator to join our team, and the program coordinator will be working directly on that stormwater stuff, and then same with flood stuff as well. So again, some exciting progress. We're actively recruiting folks. We have a great new team member on the with Water Resources who has been eager and a great addition already. So we wanted to share that update and introduce Linda, and we'll be keeping you all updated on additional team members that will be joining. So making progress, but we're excited to have Linda. So
yay, I'm so excited. We actually were talking about drained maps today, drainage maps and permitting stuff we haven't met. So I'm really excited, Linda. And if you work really hard, work your way up, you'll get to sit here. All this.
And was like, you can have it right now. You can have it right now if you want.
So I'll be yours. I'll always be here to help. So welcome, Linda. Thank you. And getting
You brought me to this meeting.
more coverage on this.
Good to know.
Okay. Anything else on the item? Thank you. So storm season monitoring update. Jordan, do you want to say?
Yeah, storm season is upon us. We are gonna have Corey and Linda go out next week and check our sites and see how much water is actually going to be there, so that we can begin our stormwater season.
We never know.
Sampling, because we have flashy systems, and even when we do get rain, sometimes it is just completely absorbed and we can't sample it.
Can you just highlight our sites for folks that may not be?
There are
familiar?
13 sites for our MS4 sampling. There's one in North Lakeport, Upper Lake, Nice, Lucerne, Clear Lake Oaks,
Clear Lake.
Middletown, Hidden Valley,
Lower Lake.
Lower Lake, where am I? Clear Lake,
The Riv.
the Riviera, Soda Bay,
Kelseyville.
Kelseyville,
You have one more.
Lakeport.
Yep.
You passed the test. Good job.
I'm looking up on that in my head.
So relevant to the group because we contracted with both cities. So
Yes.
we monitor the site at Clear Lake, City of Clear Lake, and one at Lakeport. And then we collect that data and we put in a report, and you guys all should have got your report. I know last meeting I said I was a little late, but I did get it to you in time for Smart's reporting. So you guys have all that data from the monitoring from last year. Did you want to talk about pyrethroid? Is there any questions about
Yeah, sure.
MS4? So MS4 refers to municipal storm sewer systems. I don't know where the 4 came from.
Separate.
Oh, there is 4 S's separate. And that is a state's fancy way of saying the areas that are deemed urban enough where there's basically point sources from the urban activity on the landscape, as opposed to like non-point sources, which is like ag and other things that don't necessarily have like a set point, which is what the urban is. So, okay. You want pyrethroid?
Pyrethroid, we have one sampling event left to complete the sampling set
Requirement?
and permit, and hopefully we will never ever have to do this again. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, so we have one more requirement to sample for it's called the first flush event, anytime between October and December, when it's wet conditions. You guys can see on the bottom right, we have to fill these jars with sediment, and then we also have to fill a bunch of water. And so there has to be enough water there to fill those. So you can see the urban flow. This is City of Clear Lake Bayless Point, or Bayless, Will's collecting there. The pyrethroid, again, is a joint agreement we have with the cities to do the sampling for that. And this is a state order to determine the urban inputs of like pesticides. So far, for all 3 samplings, we have not hit any of the triggers for pyrethroid, which is great news because the state wanted us to do a management plan for pyrethroids forever. But they said, but if you can do a sampling and prove that you don't have anything, then you don't have to do that. And so we wanted to do 1 year of a bunch of hard labor instead of forever of outreach and management.
Yes.
That may not be useful because if we don't have pyrethroids, we don't have a problem. Any questions on that? And anybody's welcome to come out and sample with us when we do this.
Yeah. It's last minute though, so be flexible.
I have a
Because
question.
it's storm related.
Yeah.
So you said we have one more pyrethroid sampling left, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
And
required
That's required.
under the
So
current, yes.
if we do go out and do the testing and it comes back positive or hits one of the triggers, what does that look like, even though we haven't hit any of the triggers the past 3 sampling events?
So we have to report right away and then we have to describe the situation. It depends where it is.
Okay.
So far, we haven't had any triggers anywhere. We've had small detections of the, like, they measure several things. They measure that little insect there is relevant. So the sediments, yeah, the sediments in the water, they put in some aquariums in their lab and they put that insect in there. The insect has been shown to be sensitive to pyrethroids. So if they get 80% mortality of the insect, then it's considered you have pyrethroids. in that material. So far, we've never hit that. The insect,
Toxicity.
it's a toxicity test. The insects have all been fine. We've had great, they all survived, they love it. They do another required analysis, which is basically you collect the bottle like Jordan's doing. And then they just test that for pyrethroid, like, is it present and how much, what's the concentration? There's a threshold where they've set for that concentration. And so it's been detected in some of those sites a couple times, but not at all reached that threshold. So we haven't triggered that threshold. So that means that there's some pyrethroids somewhere out there. There's natural sources of pyrethroid, like certain flowers have some pyrethrins. So, or there could have been like a house somewhere that sprayed some, and there could have been some runoff that got in there. So there's some trace. And I think one of the sites was City of Clear Lake, and was it North Lakeport? Or, I mean, Nice? I can't remember. Or was it Lakeport? I can't remember, but it didn't matter because it didn't meet the threshold. So if we come back and there is something, then the state would probably have us go resample just to see. And then they would determine if that site, if it's enough, depending what the concentration is. Now, like all the insects die and it's a high concentration, that's a way different hit than like none of the insects die, but the concentration's higher than the threshold. You know, that may require a different response. We don't know yet what the state require. Now, full disclosure, let's say the city's results don't come back with anything, but one of the county sites does, then the county may be required to enter into a pyrethroid management plan, whereas the cities won't because their sites didn't result in it. Same thing, if one of the city sites come back positive, but nobody else's does, then that city might have to engage in a management plan for pyrethroid, depending what the state agrees on. Or maybe they do another year of sampling.
So it wouldn't be a blanket. It wouldn't be a blanket.
It shouldn't be. That's why we did the different sites. That's why they're all, and we didn't just pick one site that represented everybody. Yeah. Was there any other questions online for that? Okily dokily. Okay, so we're on to new business.
Unless you want to do.
Oh, no, we're on to F. Okay, it literally says it right there. I just skipped it. We have not yet done this. We want to do a RFQ update for some things in this grant we have, and hopefully now with some extra staff on hand, we'll be able to have time to do this. But yeah, it's still outstanding.
Yep.
Just FYI. Any questions on that? Now new business. Oh, I put my name there. Is that okay, EJ? You want to introduce this? Okay. Okay.
It would be a Brown Act violation to go against it.
Oh, I know, we're sticklers for the Brown Act. Okay. So our TMDL, which is total maximum daily load, we have requirements from the state to follow that. We had asked for an extension. The extension was very heavy for county stuff. The cities, you guys had very little left requirements to do, but the county really needed more time to comply. So we filed an extension, and with new rules now at the state, those extension requests have to go to the water board. So that went to the water board in October, and it got approved unanimously with no contention. So that's good news. At least for county, it means that we have until 2028 to meet a lot of our compliance for TMDL, which we're in compliance. If anybody says we haven't followed our TMDL, that's not true, because we're in compliance. We're following it. We just need longer to get in projects in place. Any questions on that item? So here we have an action item. So and I apologize for getting this to you late. I wanted to make sure it was complete. So this is, and I have I have some of it here if somebody needs to read it on the screen, but this is a letter addressed to the Blue Ribbon Committee for the rehabilitation of Clear Lake. And this is asking them for immediate inclusion in some approved stormwater planning and management project that they had approved. And they approved it in 2021, but it hasn't yet gotten funding. And we would like it to be the top item when they go to ask the budget funding site, and they go and ask for funds for project in the budget for 2024-25, which means in July, when they prepare a budget package asking for funds to come to Lake County for this Blue Ribbon Committee projects, we would like this project to be included in that list and high prioritized since it was approved so long ago. I really want anybody's feedback and comments on the letter. I also wanted to let you guys know that we got approved this project that was around 1.9 million in 2021, and they immediately funded part of that. So they immediately funded the grant that we just talked about for the IDDE that Jordan's been working on, and now Linda. And so we're really grateful for the Blue Room Committee for funding that. That project is on the ground running. We're able to do cleanups in creeks, remove cars, trash, get materials for organizing volunteer cleanups. It's a big project and we're really grateful. Hosting volunteer events, and that funds are also available for the cities. So the cities have been able to tap into those funds and use that too. However, about another half of those funds were not funded. And there's a lot of stormwater planning and management that's included in those funds that we really can't move forward on things, and we can't see stormwater quality improvements until we get some of those planning stuff done. We just don't have funds for that. So that's what this, oh, and I will say that the Blue Room Committee has put other projects up for funding that were approved after ours. So, and I've brought it up, and I'm on the technical subcommittee for the Blue Room Committee, and I brought it up every single time. So I feel like either we got forgot or other projects somehow are getting priority. And I feel like a letter from the council would be really helpful for our case. And then I don't feel, you know, like I'm repeating myself over and over again without having any luck. I still might bring it up, but at least now I'll have a letter signed by important people and a public record. So also I wanted to ask if you read the project, but because we have some new staff, and again, this was approved in 2021 and new members, I didn't know if you guys were interested in like a PowerPoint overview of what that project would be. I had to do it for approval to the Blue Room Committee. I had to do this whole project in 5 minutes. So I have that PowerPoint ready, so I can do that if there's interest.
I think so.
Okay, the room has interest. Is anybody online opposed to that?
I think it's a great idea.
Hi, Maria. Okay, let's do this.
I had one question on the letter. The contents all look great, because I'm an alternate and I was kind of thrown in today last minute. It still says Kim Costa.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Is that something that the current group here, like I would change the name to be Brandon Disney, and then I'd send it out for your signature on the DocuSign?
That's fine with me.
Okay, like your name is officially as an alternate on the thing, so it should be fine. Okay, so that makes sense. So I can do. I think that's what we've done before. Okay, and is that, so then my question for, do I just take out Joyce Overton?
Yeah.
That's, I really would like to have their. Okay. Okay, what was I doing? Oh, I needed to. And I have this other PowerPoint to share. Okay, let's do this so I can share it with you guys. I'm getting sick and tired of my voice today. Okay, so this is the Lake County Stormwater Program Infrastructure Improvement Project. And again, this was presented to the Blue Room Committee on September 23rd, 2021, with approval, I believe. Okay, I can skip. So here is the Clear Lake Basin. This isn't the Cache Creek watershed. This is the Clear Lake Basin outlined in blue. And you can see all of the MS4 areas are outlined in red, or the community growth boundaries. And then all the other land uses that are there, whether it's federal or state. And so this project is mostly programmatic. So we do have a proposed $500,000 match from the county. And these were originally intended to be cannabis funds, but I think now they're general funds. And the county did commit to this, and we are in year 2 of some of these funds. So thank you, County Board of Supervisors, for supporting that. We really appreciate it. Which is another reason why I wanted this letter, because the county committed funds and we're still waiting on funds committed from the Blue Room Committee. These funds would also provide sustainability to make sure that once the grant ends, it's just not like a patchwork in time where then all the projects fall apart and we never get any follow through. There is a need for this work because we see a direct connection between stormwater runoff and lake water quality. And that is well established in the literature. We are finding out that there is less impact of stormwater, as far as it's not as much as we originally thought, but this is a huge watershed and stormwater does impact water quality. And you would see that UC Davis, which got tons of funds from the Blue Room Committee, is directly linking improved stormwater quality infrastructure to reduce external loads of phosphorus and nitrogen, particularly, which is what drives the cyanobacteria blooms. And we've applied to stormwater grants. This is not an issue of grant writing ability, but the fit of this type of project. So there's not like grant funds out there that we're just not applying ourselves for. They just aren't made for what we need this project to do. So for example, we were awarded 3.4 million grants that were non-stormwater related since 2018. The number's gone up since then. This is like 3 years old, folks. You can add like 6 million to that. But we were not awarded 2.8 million in stormwater specific or nutrient reduction grants since 2018. So we can manage grants. We just don't have there's no grants out there that fit this project. So these are the tasks. The project administration is just keeping the wheels running, and there would be oversight directly from the Clean Water Program. So the person managing this and communicating with the cities and helping them use some of these funds would be part of this admin budget. We'd also require the cities to participate. If you guys need to offset that time, that could be part of this project of the funds. It would include any legal requirements, database management, purchasing, monitoring, training, reporting. And we have a history of success of programs working together with the Clean Water Program. The TMDL is on track in compliance, and it was out of compliance 2017. We got it back in track. We finished our effectiveness assessment plan. We're well on our way to completing our pyrethroid plan. We have a history of success of getting projects done that are requirements that we need to do. This is old. You guys don't need to see that, but we did write a letter of support for this project, and these are all the folks that signed it and when they did. So we're obviously supportive of this project. Task 2 would be what's called an infrastructure assessment and improvement planning. I will say the permit for the statewide stormwater permit that should be coming down the pipeline next year actually has a requirement for this called asset management, which means you go out and how much is this pipe? How much would it cost? How much does it cost to operate and manage? We have to put dollars to all of that. This is going to be a really great, super fun requirement from the state for us to do as part of our stormwater management. But if we get these funds, now we have a way to pay for it, because the state isn't going to give us money to do asset management so they can know how much all our stormwater costs. Makes sense? Okay. Lake County Watershed Protection District will be the consultant. We'll get a consultant for this. And what it'll be was on the ground assessment of the structural control. So here is Lakeport, beautiful Lakeport. Look at this beautiful infrastructure. Is this system handling stormwater in the best way? Is there ways to improve it, particularly when it comes to water quality? If you guys see, it's nice vegetated right here, but as soon as it goes down into that rocky area and then under the bridge or right there through that pipe, it's all hardscape channelized, and it shoots it right out into the lake without any treatment. So is there a way that, I'm not picking on Lakeport, okay? I'm just saying this would be a prime area that this project could plan some infrastructure improvements from. Here's some examples. So this task would assess and evaluate old existing infrastructure. Look, here's a Lucerne site. So, right, we're picking on everybody. So this would prioritize and design new stormwater infrastructure, such as these examples on the right. And they would all be, high priority sites would be picked first, and they would be structured to fit the water needs, the water that's flowing through there, and also the needs of having that improved water quality on the outside end. And you can see this pipe where Austin is standing, how big it is. Now, this is a Caltrans road, so you can imagine the complications between having a Caltrans right of way right there. But do you think Caltrans is going to go in and update that stormwater for us? Willy-nilly, no questions asked? No, but if we have some bucks behind it, some legal, and we get some partnership, collaboration with this grant we'll provide, we'll probably be able to go in and update that. Here's some other examples. Here's Austin right down the road, another one of those sites. Look at that beautiful cement channel funneling all that stuff off the hill there, and it goes right into the lake. So maybe we can have something like this on the right, some beautiful features, that will be able to filter some of that and also provide, some beautiful views as opposed to that cement. Task 3 is stormwater management policy and program review and improvement. This is really exciting. So again, we'd have a consultant help us with this. Here's our stormwater management plan. This is from 2003, and it expired in 2008. This is it. We don't have another one. So we're kind of outdated on what our management plan should look like.
Just a little bit.
So this task would update that. This would also go through all of our ordinances and programmatic, like how do we do our procedures? Like how can we improve it to be the best? Not necessarily, I mean, we want to fit and comply with the permit, but the end goal is improving stormwater quality for Clear Lake or the streams that it's running off into. And this would be really essential because this task would have a consultant with a facilitator and they would organize all the interdepartments, both the cities and the counties, because we have really trouble communicating and getting on the same page with other departments for what we need to do. This would also provide some of that asset management as far as the programmatic side. So how much staff does it take to respond to spills and file paperwork for planning needs, those kinds of things. This task 4 is already funded in progress. That's the trash plan IDDE. The last task is really what creates the legacy of improved stormwater management, which is the outreach and education. And I will say that outreach and education for stormwater management has never been prioritized and has never been funded. So this would be pretty substantial. And it would, again, communicate with all the cities. We can even hire a consultant to give us a bunch of marketing materials, provide education, and it would work with school curricula also. And so this is a real big component of that. This was the timeline for the project. You can see I had built out from the time it was approved. And so now we're almost in 2024. So this would be adjusted. But of course, that task 4 is already in the process. And that's it. And then I thanked the group for their consideration, which they all approved. And so now we just need funding. Was there any questions on that? All that makes sense. Is there anything in there that causing alarm for folks that makes them not want to support the project or ask for its immediate? Any questions from anybody? Do I have the chat? Yeah, I have no chat.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Okay. Make sure we can share this. All right. So this is, oh, that was the letter that we did when we approved it. So now I'm just asking for an action item for approving this letter. If there's any edits or feedbacks or anything I need to do, and then I will remove Kim Costa and write in Brandon Disney, and I will remove Joyce Overton. So that version, is there any?
No, with those edits, I'll move to approve the letter to the Blue Ribbon Committee.
Do we have a second? EJ, you can vote on this, right? You serve on the Blue Ribbon Committee?
I'm on the Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, I don't think it's a conflict of interest because you voted for the project originally, right? Okay.
I just can't second it if I'm chair.
I second Maria Del Jonas. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Do you want to do roll call on this or ask for any opposed? Okay, so roll call, let's do online. Kylie?
Yes.
Online, Bethany?
I need to reread it. I don't have an answer at the moment.
Can we still pass it if she doesn't?
Oh. It just depends if it's a no.
Yeah, are you voting no or abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, did you get that, Kelly? Angela DePalmadau, I approve. Yes, yay. Marina?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
And I say yes, also when you said the conflict of interest, when we passed the first one, there was no issue. All of a sudden, they're starting to reference things about conflict of interest. But I'm not worried about that because I voted on the last one that we approved and sent.
Yeah.
Blue Ribbon back then. So.
Right. And this is just a letter, so we're not voting for any like action by the Blue Ribbon Committee. It's a thing they already approved. It's just, yeah, action for the letter. Yeah.
I'm just noting. that.
Reminder. Right, yeah. They'll be like, well, EJ signed this, so it's no longer valid. No. Okay, so if Bethany abstained, do I write that in here or do I just remove her? What, how do we do this?
I mean, if it's a specific letter, I would just say that you would remove her. She abstained because you're, yeah.
Okay. We still have Lakeport representation, City of Clear Lake and district and county. So we're still representing clean water program. If we weren't, I would feel not comfortable with it. Maybe bring it back next meeting or something.
Yeah, no, I think that would justify.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody? The ayes have that. Okay. On to item 6C. So I was asked if our group would entertain the idea of drafting a letter. First, they asked for a letter of support. I said, well, I don't have, it was like a week ago. I don't know exactly what the grant application is. So we're asking for the group if they want to approve the drafting of a letter of support for a grant application for the purpose of securing biochar to be used as a filtration medium. Say what? What was that? Do you need an agenda?
No, it just.
Well, that's fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
But it was the same thing up until that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really, yay for me. So it approved waters that are running into Clear Lake and other tributaries. So this was asked from Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians, and this is the grant application, I believe, is going to be joint between them, Lake County RCD, Terra as partners, and also us as partners because we manage stormwater programming. So basically the main thing with this, and I put it here, is that the letter of support would be a commitment on behalf of the Clean Water Program. It's unclear if it's each jurisdiction, but as together, that we would be willing to purchase biochar to use for remediating stormwater quality runoff. And the first times we get it would probably be a very experimental utility. So there would be monitoring involved, but that would be part of the grant application, is saying, we're getting, what they're asking for is, we want this grant money to manufacture biochar to be used for stormwater projects. And we have this Clean Water Council that makes up the county and the two cities willing to purchase this much biochar and use it in their stormwater projects. And then we're also asking for money to monitor the utility and, do the maintenance on it for the duration of the grant. So if there's any concerns the group has now, is to bring it up to include it in the letter, and then they'll draft a letter and we'll either bring it back to this committee, or if it's if the grant application is due before the next meeting, we might do a special meeting just to approve it. So just heads up, that might be somewhere in December or January.
If the grant gets approved, what are the locations that are being considered for the biochar to be implemented?
If there's a location that you would like, we can include that in the letter, or the grant, but I think
I just didn't know if there was anything.
We don't have any
steps ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it would make sense for us to put it in places, at least some of the places that we already do monitoring, so we can see its use. So I can think right away, the Nice, like it's a long ditch. It goes under a road that's a county road, and then there's the culverts, and that goes out to the lake. And we've been monitoring there for the last 2 or 3 years. So we would put biochar somewhere in that. And I think it's biochar wattles is the use. And then we would keep monitoring, and if we see improvement effluent, it's kind of built in. And then that'd be a great thing for us to use and apply other places. However, the way the wattles can be used too is construction sites or just around storm drains, or, so there's a wide range of utility of where they can be used. They do require, you can't just set it and forget it, because they use the nutrients and absorb stuff, but then they have to be replaced. Or else they'll actually be sources of nutrients at some point when the charge goes away.
I have questions about this, but I can ask later, I guess.
I mean, what?
Oh, sorry. I don't know. Disposal, like, how do you get rid of those?
I think it's just, you use, once they have the nutrients, then you move it to a site that uses nutrients. So an ag site, or like,
Okay.
it could go to landfill, but actually
Yeah.
biochar is used as a soil amendment. So you would probably, and I think Scotts Valley either, we can request that, like, in your grant application, you need to tell us where the used biochar is going. So you have to have some land agreement.
Yeah.
With somebody
what's the
to use it,
cost
yeah.
For that afterwards, like buying them and then getting rid of them. And then also whatever that material is, the only thing that I'd be worried about is metals introduction, because SVSCs are gonna burn off in biochar, right? But metals are gonna stay. So if it's going to be a filtration system, is the biochar being tested previously, so we're not introducing anything else?
So I know the biochar is gonna be produced locally of local materials. That's the idea, is that they use it. They're getting grants for their biochar units
Cool.
to take in local materials. So it literally is just broken down, like, and that's another part of why they want us to help out, because we can do those testings as part of our normal,
I
like,
think
we
it's
test
just-
metals anyways. And they also want to know, like, is there certain materials that are better or not? Like, maybe Tree of Heaven is really, really great for filtering out phosphorus. Wouldn't that be
How
awesome?
cool would that
Then everybody can chop down their Tree of Heaven. We can put it in
be? A
biochar. Great.
donation thing.
But maybe it's really bad. In that case, we want to keep all the Tree of Heaven separate and not use that biochar for our thing. So it has great utility, but I think they're trying to figure out who.
I really like the idea.
Yeah.
A couple of things.
Yeah. If you think of questions later too, let's send it. Let's have them include it in their grant application. Scotts Valley is working with RCD to help them prepare the grant application. So, and they're going to be doing a lot of research on biochar. And so.
Well, yeah, and like some
cool.
culverts, if they're rushing, I mean, a little wattle's gonna be just in the way, or it could get blown out.
I like mixing it in sandbags,
Yeah,
like check dams,
yeah.
mixing
Yes.
biochar with sandbags and putting in check dams. And then each year you just replace your check dam with new biochar.
I like that.
So I might suggest, that might be my question, is not just wattles to be manufactured, but like gravel bags,
Mhm.
things like that. Was there a question online?
Yeah, actually, I had my hand raised too. Was there somebody else?
Oh, I didn't check raise hands yet. So go ahead, Maria.
I was just wondering if we have a manufacturer of the wattles yet. I know I've heard a lot about it going into wattles, which I thought was an awesome idea, but who's making those wattles?
No, that is our RCD, and I had a phone call or Zoom about this. And that was one of our questions, and Tara too. And we all identified that right now, none of us have capacity to be the wattle.
Manufacturers.
Yeah.
Wattle
The
manufacturers.
wattle whittlers. Yeah. Who's making the wattles. And that was one of our questions for Scotts Valley was, they need to bring that capacity for manufacturing. So they need to manufacture the biochar and the wattles.
Okay, I have not seen that aspect that has not been included in the project descriptions that have come before community development so far. So we'll be looking for that then.
For their land use permits for their biochar units.
Yeah.
And I know that when the county had some property in like the Middle Creek Restoration area that we were working with them that to kind of like lease to set up a manufacturing area. So it'd have different bays for the different materials that are coming in. And then once the biochar is made, it would be there. And then it could be manufactured on site into wattles or bags or whatever or just mixed in as like, with compost material or whatever. But they didn't get that grant to do that. So, but I haven't seen it. As far as I know, that's the only other project I've seen. But so that's a question for manufacturing, where and who is doing that.
Well, they'll also be producing biochar from their Red Hills location.
Right. So that's what they're doing, is they're looking for how they can use that produced biochar. And I think the grant they need to do the manufacturing part of it is they can't, if they need to have like who at the end is going to be buying that once it's manufactured, is justifies the grant. So that's what they asked us. But these are all questions I need to ask them before we, can entertain or support or sign a support letter.
We'll be interested to hear about the actual process so that we can anticipate environmental impacts. That's all. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Is there any other questions online? I didn't see any hands up. Any other questions in the room? Were you thinking about one?
I was thinking about one, but
Did it go away?
No, I didn't want to add more work, but I don't know, maybe a special meeting would be appropriate once we get more clarification on some of the questions that we have. Especially if we're gonna be submitting a letter of support, it might be beneficial to hear some of, more solidified plan for the actual application.
I think when they get the grant figured out exactly and like contract with RCD and get the topics, I think part of that grant development too is reaching out for partners.
Okay.
So I think there's an opportunity that way. That's something we definitely I can invite everybody on. But if there's requests from the committee to do a special meeting, well, yeah, I think we might have to do it anyways for the letter, so it would all be together.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think at this meeting, I just wanted to see, is there interest in the group to work with the Scotts Valley and the partners in drafting a letter?
Okay.
Is that, I just wanted to make sure the item reflected that and wasn't like we're supporting the letter or the project yet, but we are interested in a draft, working on a draft letter. Okay.
So we'll just make sure that the minutes say, seeking consensus or approving. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so. Is there? Oh, I can make a motion to approve drafting a letter of support for grant application for the purpose of securing biochar to be used as filtration medium for Scotts Valley.
I second Marina Delajonis.
Second motion in a second. Is there any opposed? We'll just ask that.
I love it.
If you are so online, just raise your hand. I'm watching.
You're watching them?
Yeah, I already.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay. There's none opposed.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of talk about biochar for quite a while. And there's been nothing to my knowledge of any development other than approvals of those types of ideas and facilities and projects, but no development at all. We just had in front of the Board of Supervisors a situation where now there is a demand to upgrade the road. That one of these, actually the only place that I'm aware of where this facility would be, that biochar would be created, and it sounds like it's a hurdle to allowing that. Are we? I get it that there's the idea of the support from Blue Ribbon and all of that stuff, but are we putting all our eggs in one basket, or is there an option B just in case that doesn't happen? Because we do need these things. It does look like it would be helpful for filtering the water that's entering into Clear Lake. Just wondering if we're relying solely on the projects that, in my opinion, at this moment in time, do not seem to be going anywhere.
Supervisor Sabatier, if I could add a little bit of clarification on that. The project, the biochar project is located on the parcel, but the project that came before the board yesterday was regarding a parcel map for housing development. It in no way affects whether or not that road improvement ever gets done, in no way impacts the tribe's process or progress on their biochar.
It's not expected that, even though it's the same entry point for the biochar, that it's not expected that there's an upgrade for the road for that?
No, the upgrades to the road are in the code specifically connected to parcel maps.
Okay. Well, again, I know that they've been in settlements and stuff. I sure hope it moves, but I would definitely keep an eye on it just in case it doesn't move. Because
Yes.
what is our plan B?
It has already moved on to building permit stage.
Okay. Again, I just want to put it out there that eventually I would like to take a look and make sure if it's happening, awesome, because I think it's a great project. I think it's something that needs to happen. But if 6 months from now to a year, there's not much movement because there's other hurdles that have come up, can we have a look and make sure that we are looking at a plan B and not relying on something that might not be moving forward?
I'm not sure if this pertains to this, question, Bruno, but, we have been working with Scotts Valley because they always envisioned 2 sites for their biochar units. They have 2 units. One was going to be at the Red Hills location and another one was going to be in Upper Lake. And we are still, at least the Watershed Protection District is still interested in leasing one of those parcels that was obtained through the Middle Creek Restoration Project that's near Highway 20. So noise and access is an issue because it's right there. It's already a highway. It might take some zoning changes. Again, that might be a hurdle, but we're still interested in working with them. And we were going to go through with that through a lease of that property to Scotts Valley, but their grant from the like federal economic development didn't go through. So it's just the funding to get everything in place to put the project on the land is.
Here's, let me clarify what I'm saying. What Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians is wanting to do is amazing, and I hope it happens. But I believe the job of the Clean Water Act is to act as quickly as possible. And if it's going to take 2 years for them to get there, where are we getting biochar from to get that going sooner than later, where we can then work with Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians as soon as they get their operations running? There's been a lot of stuff to slow it down. The Upper Lake one has all kinds of problems. I'm just saying the goal of this committee is the water, not to support a specific group. That group, I hope they're successful in doing what they're going to do because it needs to happen. But what's our plan B in making sure we get biochar as soon as possible?
We don't have one. I know there was a proposal to the technical subcommittee of Blue Ribbon Committee from an agency that was selling biochar. They were not located locally. They would not be using local materials. It wasn't clear if they would do like basically provide materials for a demo without any upfront costs. And again, that wasn't part of the Clean Water program. That was the Blue Ribbon Technical Committee. So they were looking for somebody take it on and bring it to the Blue Ribbon Committee. And with all those factors and knowing that there could be a local source of biochar, I think everybody was wary of using that. I wouldn't want to go ahead with that, especially because there's a lot of other things that we could be doing now for improvement of stormwater, in addition to biochar, but waiting those few years for the local biochar was at least my consideration. But no, this group has not considered that. Looking for biochar, another source outside and implementing that.
This is basically them applying for a grant and we're supporting them, right?
Right, but we have not put any like effort towards getting a hold of biochar ourselves and putting it out. Frankly, I need my public works to clean out drains first before I can ask them to install biochar sandbags or wattles. So that's the step I think at least we're at. Which is why it's so important that we have these additional staff and that we get these grants from the Ribbon Committee so we can create that sustainability and keep on some of these things that we're lagging on before we add extra stuff onto it. But if another group like Scotts Valley was going to be producing biochar and it was going to be local and it was going to be here, then we'd take advantage of that and use it in water quality applications. But currently, no, this group hasn't tried to look for biochar elsewhere. If there is a company that's producing biochar at least locally, or can use local materials and manufacture it and then bring it back, we would entertain a presentation from them for this group and talk about potentially doing a funding agreement like we have for so many other projects.
And I'm not speaking about the letter of support. The letter of support is an easy one. That's to help the project move along. It's the idea that biochar is an absolutely not necessary, but would be useful in doing the work that we're looking to get accomplished in this committee. And so just looking to see what are our other options rather than relying on one. And so I'll keep asking and we'll keep the conversation going. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there anything to add to that item? Okay. Anybody online? Why is this not moving forward? Okay. So work group updates. Did we Lakeport? So Bethany's not here for that. I do not think they had a pecan meeting for the work group. Kylie, was there a meeting I just wasn't a part of? So I didn't have
No,
information.
no,
Okay.
there was not. I need to get on scheduling one for the next quarter. And I will do that.
Okay, feel free to do that. In previous years, during this winter quarter, we haven't had work group meetings. Just because it's a really hard time with all the holidays, getting people attending. And then also because usually we're busy doing monitoring and stuff. So feel free to use the quarter to plan for your meeting for the next quarter, after the next meeting if you want, or you can have one.
Okay, I'll definitely, yeah, I'm thinking that it probably would be a good idea to schedule all of the meetings for next year and send it out all at once, so everybody knows ahead of time. But yeah, I definitely do want to like create some sort of agenda also, so I will take advantage of not having a meeting this quarter to do that.
Okay, that sounds great. I think I'll do the same thing for my meetings. We did have a couple meetings for the PIP is Public Education Outreach Program, and then PIP is Public what is the I? Involvement and participation. I was like, what are the I? And so we discussed Jordan was doing some stormwater PSAs. You are in discussions with Peter Wilson for doing some stormwater PSAs?
Well, we already have some stormwater PSAs
Okay,
that
right.
went out with Bonneville.
Okay.
Before Peter Wilson moved.
And these are
over.
digital PSAs, so they target like
Yep.
people when they're on their phone
Yep.
in the Lake County area. It says like, clean up your trash or what, don't be a litter bug or.
Kind of basically like want to know more about keeping your waterways clean, and then it sends links to like our website and
Okay.
things like that. So that ad started running in September. And I'm also looking at possibly working with iHeartRadio for.
Oh yeah,
That's Peter Wilson.
for podcasts and radio when people listen to stuff
Yeah,
online. Okay.
different kinds of media. We could play 1.3 million if we wanted T-Swift to say something about stormwater in Lake County.
I think that's a great
Should we just change our Blue Ribbon Committee funding letter ask and just put it all asking for Taylor Swift to ask?
Clearly it's beautiful and you need to keep it clean.
all I'm saying. That could boost the tourism, but you know, we can have that conversation.
Wow.
Agree. 1.3 million. Is it like how many times? Is it forever or like one time?
No, it's her ad for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Forever.
it's
Forever.
Investment.
That is
Yeah.
really.
Not a bad idea.
I feel like people would listen. If Taylor Swift wants you to clean stormwater, we're gonna do it.
Lake County and it's gorgeous, but I did notice blah, 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 and you guys should keep it clean.
Mhm.
1.3.
That was
What else
funny.
am
They
I-
offered that.
Yeah.
That's on
Yeah.
there. Can you ask for some lower tier, like not top shelf celebrities? Like what are our options?
We can get pretty much anybody we want for $1 price. It's iHeartMedia. They do so much. They have so many different platforms that we don't even.
Yeah, I just want a random smattering of celebrities and
I
their
know.
costs for stormwater.
I feel like.
Okay, so thanks for reaching out for that. And then I know Lakeport did some awesome posts. Here's an example here. He shared it with the group, the PEEP group. So if anybody wants to post it on your social media, or do anything, it's great. So good job. I think Andrew Britton put that together. But good job, Lakeport. Good job. And then, illicit discharge trash. They're two separate work groups, but we put them together because Jordan's been working on them. So do you want to update anybody on Coastal Cleanup Day and Second Nature? It's part of those.
Second Nature, software is currently in progress still. City of Lakeport is on top of it and they're doing a great job, like actually using it. I have used it a couple of times and we're just continuing on with working together and getting that completely finalized.
And what's the Second Nature software for?
Oh, question.
She assumes everybody knows everything she's working.
Second Nature is a company that helps streamline a variety of illicit discharge, trash compliance, construction. They have a bunch of different platforms, software platforms in their app that you can pay for to help streamline your projects to comply with MS4 permits. So we paid for the illicit discharge detection as well as trash compliance. And these will help us with our reporting, moving forward, and detections and mapping, hotspot mapping, and trash compliance. The end.
Thank you.
You're very
Awesome. Are there any questions or anybody have anything to add online? Is there anybody Lakeport that's used this, the software? What do you think about it?
Not used it.
Thanks, Brandon, for that honest report.
That's fine. I know that Lakeport has, because I can see the incidents. I can see that,
Is that Public Works or Bethany? Have you been using it or?
I don't know if it's Andrew Britton who's putting them, I don't know who's putting them in. But it's really cool. And we have. What?
What was it? Okay. And coastal cleanup, did you have other question?
Maybe, I don't know if it's appropriate, but maybe next meeting we can just have a little, like, no?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I would just like to see
Yes.
it in action, especially if folks are using it. People on Zoom can't see the look that Jordan's. getting.
Yes, that is part of our oversight for the Blue Room Committee, because this is the funds that are getting paid for the Blue Room Committee, so that's part of our oversight.
We
And
can do that.
Jordan loves to give presentations at
It's my
meetings
favorite thing.
about what she's working on.
It's a lot different from like getting demos and actually seeing it in action for you know, a service that we're paying for. Thanks, Jordan, for stepping up to the plate and doing that.
I need to fully learn it first. Okay, that would be fun.
Oh, coastal cleanup day update, and then your item's done.
I cannot remember trash totals off of the top of my head. So I can tell you that we had 7 different sites. Turnout was typical for Lake County, you know, few people here and there, but we appreciate the help. And it was really nice to have Blue Ribbon Committee funds to buy supplies, trash grabbers, gloves, and vests and things to help out with this event as well as other events that we hosted this year.
Great, thank you. And again, if there are cleanups or anything that you guys need, especially now before the wet season really comes in, just let Jordan know so
Yeah,
she can work
please.
on that.
If you see trash dump sites, let me know. We've already been looking a couple in,
we completed our PEEP, which is our Program Effectiveness Assessment Improvement Plan. That was with EOA, so that's complete. That doesn't have a work group anymore. And then, like I said, our TMDL is in compliance. Their TSO got approved. This is basically now, I think I'm gonna, because we're focusing more, we're not doing really as a group anymore, so I might remove it from the clean water program, except for any updates, like any orders that come down or communications with the water board. Is that okay with everybody? Just like, okay. EJ is really excited and I have to talk about it TBL anymore. So item 8, important dates. The reporting period ended June 30th, 2023. We are now in the next reporting period, but know that hopefully all your smarts were entered October 15th. We did not enter ours all completely, so I need to finish that. Full disclosure for county, or just didn't get to it, so.
it's the room of honesty.
My confession. But I don't know, Lakeport, Clear Lake, did you guys enter all your smarts?
Clear Lake did.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay, thanks.
A++.
It was really fun.
I bet it was.
It is 96 boxes.
96
Yes,
boxes.
no, yes, no.
Boxes.
Lakeport, I hope you guys were able to enter your smarts. Better than county. I'm getting to ours. And item 9, I guess. Well, meeting dates for 2024, super exciting. Can we all take a moment and check our calendars? Is there any holidays on these days? Kelly, do you know, are any of the holidays? These are Thursdays, so if your group is observing a holiday on a Friday, know if that affects your Thursday coming to work, because we need to have, these are all in person now. And if you look on the screen, I have the suggested locations for that. I don't know why Lakeport's only half underlined. We wanted to have one in Clear Lake, which means Clear Lake folks, you guys will have to be in person there. And so Lakeport will get a chance to be, if they wanted to be high or attend virtually, they could. But both the official and the coordinator would have to be there in person in City of Clear Lake. Because we have to get, huh?
What's the difference between Lake County Courthouse and Lakeport County Courthouse?
Oh, I think those are supposed to be Lakeport Chambers. There's so many C's. So
And then it's the,
Lakeport is the council. It's either, I know we've had clean water program meetings in their conference room and in their chambers, so I don't know which one, but it's Lakeport.
and then the 11th, Thursday, July 11th, that should be at the Lake County.
Okay. That's all
Is
right.
that, sorry,
Oh.
County of Lake?
No, you all are correct. I messed up everything. Let's see here. Oop. Okay, let's just, thank you for bringing up mine.
So that should be County Courthouse. Oh, Lakeport. Got it.
This is like the second to last slide, y'all, so I was like wrapping it up mentally. Where's the, okay. Okay, please see the updated suggested locations for the corresponding dates. 11th would be in the Clear Lake Council Chambers, and Thursday, July 11th will be the Lakeport Council Chambers, or whatever facility over there in Lakeport is that they would like it, either in their conference room or the chambers. And then I figured we'd start the year in the courthouse and end the year in the courthouse.
I think that looks great. I looked at all the dates. I don't think there are any holidays.
Yeah.
Any issues with folks? Do you feel comfortable saying yes to this for Kim
Yeah.
Custis? 'Cause if she isn't available, it'll be you, so,
Correct, yeah,
Somebody
and
say,
those
okay.
all work for me.
okay. And so we did action to approve the dates and the locations. We do it both in the same thing.
Yeah. Let me see. Bruno, do you think these are good in case with your calendar too, just in case I'm not available?
I'm gonna say we haven't had a problem in the last couple of years. We won't have a problem the next year.
You're just like jinxed yourself.
Oh,
Jinx.
We'll just send Michael Green.
No. Thank
So,
you.
With that, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion. If there's any other,
I make a motion to approve the 2024 meeting schedule with the relating locations.
Second that.
so I have a motion and a second. Are there any no's? I'll just say that. Hearing none, it looks like it passes unanimously.
Great.
And so with that, we are at item 10, public comment period. If there's anybody on Zoom that wants to express public comment at this time, please raise your hand and we will open the mic for a phone for 3 minutes. 3 minutes, right?
We've never timed anybody.
Okay. Looks like we don't have anybody, and I think everyone here, we're good, so.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to really commend Water Resources staff because I started these meetings when we first started having these meetings, and it's just come such a long way, and it's so obvious that it's a really robust program that's getting a lot of stuff done. So well done. Good job.
Thank you for saying that. I feel like it's the long lost forgotten program, so it really helps to have your guys' participation and words like that. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. With that, go to item 11, which is an action item. So if there's a motion to adjourn. Speak now or forever hold your peace, and we'll sit here and wait.
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.